How we doing, guys?
What's it like to be in this moment? A lot of fans thought this would happen last year, and then you went on this odyssey and whatnot and came back. What is it like for you?
Well, you know, on a personal note, it's hard to really put in words just because of how much love I have for this organization, my teammates, and this city. But this week's not about me. You know, I've answered those questions, you know, when I left, when I came back. You know, this week is solely about our football team finding a way to get a win on the road in a hostile environment against a great opponent. And we know we have a huge challenge ahead of us, but we're excited to go out there and compete and see what we can do.
How much does getting that win start with avoiding turnovers? We've heard that from Dave Joseph the last couple of days.
That's absolutely where it starts. In fact, every week in the National Football League, winning starts with protecting the football. You know, there's a stat, and I'm not even going to throw out the number because I'll get the number wrong, but long story short, when you win the turnover margin and when you don't turn the ball over at all, your chances of winning skyrocket.
Vance said that, along those lines, that every quarterback needs to be a game manager, and that's not a bad thing. I want to talk a little bit about football crisis management. Last time you had the starting job, this team was in a tough spot. Does that help you at all in this situation?
Well, to answer your question, in some ways, yes, it's somewhat of a similar situation, but no year in the NFL is the same as the next, and so there's similarities, but it's still different. However, like Coach said, you know, I'm given this opportunity, and you know, I'm being told protect the football, and that's something that I think all quarterbacks and all skill guys know when they come into the NFL. You have to protect the football. You know, the saying is, ball security is job security, and if you protect the football, you're going to stay out there on the field. So, game manager, protecting the football, whatever you call it, that's our job every week. And so I'm not going to change anything I've done from the past. I'm just going to go out there, play the way I've always done it. I know my teammates will make my job easy. They'll all step up, and hopefully we have a great day.
2 years ago, I got the impression, forgive me if it's not fair, that when you went to Chicago, if you didn't just trip over your shoelaces, you were doing pretty good. Do you feel like there's more responsibility this time around? Or?
No, you know, I think when players get in trouble sometimes is when they make the game bigger than what it really is. And yes, it's a very complex game. It's a very fast game. There's a lot going on. There's calls, there's audibles, there's side adjusts, there's hots. But when you can slow the game down, and like Coach said, just manage it. Take care of the football, find completions, find ways to move the sticks. You know, you don't always have to take the big play. You know, 4 + 4 + 4 equals a first down. You know, checkdowns are okay, flats are okay, you know, so it's taking what the defense gives you, you know, taking it one play at a time. And when you have that approach and you stack up a lot of good plays, you're going to have good results at the end of the game.
Brock, can you believe all of this has happened?
Well, first of all, that's a great shirt and a great hat.
Oh, my kid goes. See you, I got you.
Yes, certainly. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are surprised by this. You know, very rarely, I think, does a player leave to go to a different team and he's back on his previous team within a year's time, let alone a quarterback. But once again, that's not the story. I'm here. I'm ready to play football. I know this football team's ready to go out there and play a good, clean game, and that's where our focus is right now.
You take over at a time. You take over at a time when the defenses voice some discontent, frustration with the offense. Does that make you feel any more pressure that you better perform?
Not at all. In fact, I love that the defense is frustrated. If you look at it from our perspective, it's a great thing because it means they care. It means they want to win. It means that they want to see this football team do great things. And in order for that to take place, you know, we need to hold up our end of the bargain. So to me, I think it's a great sign that they're not complacent and ignoring the fact of what we've done the past couple weeks.
Brock, with you starting again, what do you take from your experience in Houston now back into the starting role and what you've learned there maybe and can put into this?
You know, I think every player would say, you know, he's always building upon his previous games. There's nothing that's like game experience. You know, you can't get those reps anywhere else. You know, you can put yourself through mental reps, you can have a ton of practice reps, but game reps are something that are just so valuable. So between my time in Denver, my time in Houston, I've been fortunate to continue to gain reps. Now, sometimes it's gone really well. Sometimes it hasn't gone so well. The key is just learning from those, the good and the bad, washing them away and moving forward. So I'm very excited for this
Brock,
opportunity.
I have a certain comfort level with guys in that locker room that are on offense.
Yes.
Demarius Thomas and CJ, especially in your backfield, and then maybe Emmanuel this week. Talk about that, just having those guys you played with before going into this game.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate for that. I think a lot of times when a backup quarterback is forced into the starting role, he's not very familiar with certain players, especially in the skill positions, where that's not the case for me. I know these guys. Going to Demarius, I've played with him in games. Emmanuel, played with him in games. Virgil Green, played with him in games. Some of those other tight ends I haven't, but I've gotten some practice reps with him. Cody Latimer, he's a guy for years. It was him and I on scout team. So I know him almost better than any of them. So same thing with Benny, Jordan Taylor. So I'm very familiar. I'm very fortunate for that because a lot of times quarterbacks aren't in that situation.
Don't make it bigger than what it is. When I watched you play in Houston, I was a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to me like you were a quarterback making it bigger
Right,
than what it was.
right.
Is that fair?
And it's like what I just said right over here. You learn from that. So maybe in that situation, I was trying to do too much. So I think like smart players you would learn from that, and you're not going to replicate that. So it's a great observation on your behalf, but I'm moving forward.
Some of those offensive guys that you just talked about, we just talked to in the locker room, and they were saying kind of the same thing. They have this comfort level with you because they played with you during that Super Bowl season. When you have that support, have you felt that from them, the kind of support that they're talking about?
Absolutely, and I felt it from my first day back. Okay. It wasn't handshakes. It wasn't, hey, good to see you. It was hugs. It was great to have you back, man. We missed you. And it was vice versa. I shot out a bunch of text messages to guys, phone calls, when I did leave Denver. And I told them one of the hardest things was knowing that at the time I felt like I was never going to get the opportunity to play football with those guys again. And I love that locker room. And so the fact that I was able to come back, get the reception that I got, and then have the support that I'm getting from these guys, I'm going to go out there and lay it all on the line for them, just like I know they will for me.
Right, when they brought you back, John always said he felt like you needed some football rehab. What did you think he meant by that, and does this mean you've completed your rehab?
Yeah, I'm checking out. You would have to ask John exactly what he meant, but just to kind of touch on what I just talked about back here as far as some decisions that were made last year and this and that, I think sometimes the best thing for a quarterback when he's not playing well or he's going through some tough times is actually pulling him out of the fire and making him the backup, making him the third string, and letting him observe. And that's what I've been able to do. Sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment and things aren't going well, you're just trying to make a play, and then you make a bad play worse, and then it just compounds, and before you know it, you can't slow it down. But I've been very fortunate now for 7 games to be able to sit on the sideline, learn this offense through mental reps, and just observe and think about how I would do things different if I'm ever given the opportunity again. So that's kind of what my rehab's been, and now we're going to put it to the test.
A few more for Brock, guys.
Now that you have this opportunity, what do you think you'll do as a leadership role to rally the guys or do things that you've been thinking about? What do those things actually look like?
Well, the first thing with leadership is it has to be authentic. If your leadership is not authentic, no one's going to buy into it. You're not going to create followership. So as far as my leadership role, I've always been the same guy. Who have you, the person you've seen in practice, training camp, in games when I was playing in 2015, that's not going to change. I'm going to go out there with confidence. I'm going to lead with confidence. I'm going to play with confidence. I'm going to demand a lot out of my teammates, and I want them to demand a lot out of me. I want everyone to hold each other to the highest standard possible, the Broncos standard. So my leadership is just who I am. I'm not going to do anything special. Whatever my gut feeling is or my gut thought, that's coming out.
How does this affect your relationship with the guys in the quarterback room, especially Trevor, obviously?
I don't think really anything changes. it's just funny how this league works. You know, in 2015, Trevor backed me up for a while, and he was so supportive, and he was always there for me, and he was an extra set of eyes on the sideline during games. Now I come here in 2017, and I'm his backup, and I did the same thing from day one. You know, when I got here, I texted Trevor, and I said right away, hey, Trev, this is your team. You've earned it. This is your squad. You know, I'm here to do whatever you need me to do to help you win games on Sunday, and that's how it's been. And now, you know, the roles have just flipped for a week, and you know, nothing changes with Trevor and I. You know, our lockers are right next to each other. We went about business as usual. You know, we're talking about news in the world and the World Series and this and that, and we're just there to support each other, good, bad, or indifferent.
You said nothing's changed just a week. Do you feel like this is a job you have to earn it every week? Is that what you've learned over the last couple of years?
That's the National Football League at all positions. You know, the old saying is you're only as good as your last game. So moving forward, that'll be up to you know VJ to make that decision. I'm just having laser focus on this week only. The Philadelphia Eagles. We have a huge challenge, and if I take my focus anywhere else, I'm going to make my job a lot harder than it needs to be.
Thank you, Brock.
Thanks, Brock.
Thanks, guys.